Yes, so hello everyone. Good afternoon. This is Paula Land from ICLE Local Government Sustainability, welcoming you to the UrbanWINS webinar from citizen participation to local action, how cities pilot circular economy actions to fight urban waste. So it's great to have so many of you at this webinar. It's the third installment of the UrbanWINS webinar, and just a couple of words before we jump right into it. We will record this webinar so you or your colleagues get the chance to look back at it. And throughout the webinar, you will have the chance to ask questions after each presentation. And to do so, you can either raise a hand. You should find a button for that right next to your name. Or you can also type questions into the chat function. So please think about any kinds of questions you might have that makes the whole thing more interesting. But now let me just take a quick step back and introduce the UrbanWINS projects to you to give you some context. So UrbanWINS is a European project that kicked off in 2016. So that means over 2 years ago. It's already been running for a while. It's a 3-year project funded by the EU that develops and tests methods for designing and implementing eco-innovative strategic plans for waste prevention and management. So in UrbanWINS, we see the city as an urban metabolism that eats, digests, and gets rid of resources, and we want to understand that better and find better solutions to the way it's done right now. So, but who are we? We are a consortium of 27 partners representing cities, universities, technological centers, NGOs, European networks of cities, etc. So you can see we're quite diverse, and that's also one of our strengths, to give a lot of different perspectives to this issue of circular economy and urban waste management and prevention. And the core value of the UrbanWINS team is really to bring the circular economy idea to the front, that waste does not exist, but we see it as a resource. And we think that by having a better understanding of how cities consume resources and generate waste, we will then be able to move towards a more kind of sustainable consumption and production patterns, and to promote circular economy in the end. So how do we do this? Our approach is based on 3 pillars, really. The first is an in-depth analysis of different urban waste management strategies in a total of 24 cities in 6 EU countries, and based on this approach of the urban metabolism that I hinted to before, which is seeing the city as kind of a living organism. So that's more the research side of things. But then we also have a second pillar, which is the participation of stakeholders in urban agoras, which is a participatory process that is set up in 8 pilot cities, which are Cremona, Turin, 2 cities of the metropolitan city of Rome, Bucharest, in Romania, Leiria in Portugal, and Manresa and Sabadell in Spain. And from these participatory processes, we will be hearing more of later, and that's also the main reason we're all here, and especially what came out of them. And then, of course, in the end, we want to develop and test certain strategies to better implement sustainability in urban waste management, which instruments work, etc. So that's our approach. And what happened so far on UrbanWINS is that in the 8 pilot cities that I just named, there were 7 urban agoras held, and each one 7. And they concluded now. They were attended by local stakeholders, committed citizens, and each city decided on 3 pilot actions that they want to pilot in their city, including evaluation frameworks of how those actions go. And that's all developed in these urban agoras by the citizens and stakeholders invited. So you might wonder, what are those pilot actions? And I just want to give you a couple of examples of what the cities have decided on. I would just introduce 1 pilot action per city. So, for example, Albano Laziale will set up a reuse area on the Sunday market. Cremona is setting up a last-minute market to recover potential food waste for donation. Bucharest is developing a pilot project for separate collection of waste at public events. And Manresa is analyzing resource waste and flows to explore new business models. And Pomezia is building a repair and reuse center. And Sabadell is starting up door-to-door collection of separate waste. And I don't want to go too much into Turin and Leiria now because we will actually be hearing from them in this webinar, which brings me to our agenda. So we first start off hearing from Laura Ribozza from the city of Turin in Italy about from participation to local action, about piloting citizen-driven urban waste management in their cities. And after that, we will hear from Margarida Moraes from Leiria in Portugal. And once we heard about these two things, we will dive into the City Match experience, which is an exchange program set up so cities learn from each other in urban waste management. But we'll hear all about that later on. And then we'll close the webinar. So I would like to now hand the word to Laura to give you more of an overview of what's happening in Turin. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm waiting for my slides.
Laura, we cannot hear you. Could you please come closer to the microphone, and you have control over the presentation?
Okay. Now you can hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I can go. Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Laura Ribozza. I work for Smart City Office at Torino Municipality. I'm pleased to be here to represent the UrbanWINS Torino team to talk about Torino participatory process in UrbanWINS project. What is the goal of this participatory process? It's to think about the city not only from the institutional point of view, not only by the officer's point of view, but from the point of view of a mixed community composed by private sector, citizens, public utilities, public administration, and universities. After thinking, we created something. We created a network of people with common interests, but different approaches. And we created something to do together. Now we are acting together to implement action we build together. And how we involve people. I can remember lots of days in which myself and my colleagues were calling people on the phone. People I already know or completely unknown people. I had to explain them what type of advantages they could have from the participation and what UrbanWINS project is. We use also emails and social media, but I think talking to people was more effective. And who attended the Agora? And how is composed the UrbanWINS community in Torino? The most part of people are from private sector, including citizens, associations, but also enterprises. Another big voice is coming from public administration, Torino City, but also Torino Metropolitan City and the Monte region. Some important representatives from public utilities, water supply, and waste management, and some people from universities, students and researchers. And how many people participated? The first Agora had the higher number of participants, while the last one had the lower. We realized that maybe the process was too long, and it wasn't clear enough since the beginning. In the fourth and the fifth Agora, people likely wouldn't find a strong motivation for coming. In the sixth Agora was original plan to decide free action to be implemented, and then more people came. But the last Agora that was about the evaluation plan was not so interesting to our community, and then again, few people attended. But people aren't the same for each Agora. As you can see, a lot of people came only one time. You can see the data in the red oval. Maybe they were interested in understanding what the project is, but they had an interest in the participatory process. In the green oval, I think you can see the real group work group, because people at least came 4 times. And why did people come? For curiosity, sure, to understand what project is. And they came back because they wanted to join the network. Agoras were a place for meeting people from different backgrounds and activities. They wanted to be informed about fun possibilities in UrbanWINS or other city projects that we promoted during the Agora. The most important outcome for the city was the creation of an active community focused on environmental issues and proposing new ideas for future projects. And now, this is the more difficult slide to explain. I will try. This is also the most important slide for understanding the Torino participatory process. In the first Agora, we found 4 important priorities for the city. Planning, that was very focused on construction and demolition waste. Prevention, reuse and recycle, education. These were 4 tables, 4 groups that had a strong sense of belonging. During the process, each priority group thought about 1 or more actions. The priority prevention had more actions, but they decided to invest in one only for the reduction of plastics, drinking water dispenser in a public office. Urban planning table that was focused on construction and demolition waste had a very big project to propose, but that was not a demonstration action. Then they proposed an initial mapping of brownfields which need demolition work. Drinking water dispenser and demolition waste study action were in the same category of action, voluntary actions. Then we voted, and the selected action was drinking water dispenser. The city will propose the demolition waste idea for future project anyway. The reuse group and the education group decided to unify actions in one common before the voting. And from the 6th Agora, they started to work together. Their action is an awareness action, and the final action proposed by them is to organize 4 workshops about reuse and recycling. The last action selected, the regulatory one, was born during the 5th Agora when we asked for new ideas. During that Agora, we had a lot of new people, and we wanted to give them the possibility to propose new actions. And now I will start to explain to do a focus on pre-selected action, but I will say a thing before. A researcher from Politecnico di Torino Chiara Battistoni from Systemic Design Research Group participates all the process. Her research group, guided by Professor Silvia Batero, offered to students to do a thesis on each action. And now students are working in action groups and they are writing their thesis on it. Now I'm going to describe the status of each action. I'm starting with the regulatory one, guidelines for circular events. This is the regulatory action, and it doesn't need money to be implemented. They are a mixed group of people who participate also to implementation of other two actions. Now, they are mapping best practices. They participate to a meeting inside the city about events process, to understand the process inside the city offices, and they will interact with city offices to improve procedures. The final output will be guidelines for circular events in Torino. They are mapping Eco Festival in Piemonte, our region, and I want to thank the student, Claudia Pasolio, that is working on this action for these images. Here you can see the analysis by province. And here you can see the analysis of existing guidelines. The second action I will describe to you is drinking water dispenser, the voluntary action. This is an idea coming from prevention group. It is a demonstration about what can be done in a public office to disseminate waste prevention. A drinking water dispenser will be installed in the central registry office. The group, in which also the public utilities must participate, did a lot of visits to municipal buildings to find the best place for the installation and define its cost. In October, this dispenser will be installed. This is the schedule of activities that were performed during drinking water dispenser action. At the beginning, they don't have money enough for 4 dispensers. After cost analysis, they understood they could have only 1 dispenser and decided to put it in the registry office. And they think to install the dispenser in October. And this is the graphic concept about drinking water dispenser. I want to thank the 2 students who are working on it, Giada Mattias and Francesca Carraro. The third action I will describe to you is the Hub Circular Economy Workshops, the awareness of action. They are the largest group. They are the result of merging of 2 groups, reuse and education, and by the way, the most active one. They are preparing communication material and scheduling the workshops. These groups had meetings. For each meeting, we have a report. They are planning a press conference to present workshops. They are working on communication. And you can see here the calendar of events. And if you want to visit us and join them, you'll be welcome. And that's all for now. And I thank you for listening.
Yeah, thank you, Laura. That was really interesting. And now I would like to invite questions from the audience. So if there's anything you would like to know from Laura, please use the chance now and ask any questions you might have. Yeah, so we got some questions here from the chat. So Laura, first of all, Fernando would like to know how did you actually know who to invite to the Urban Agora? So yeah, how did you know who to involve and who did you invite for this? How did you do this?
But there was a sheet of UrbanWINS with all category of people we have to involve. And we think about categories suggested by UrbanWINS project, and we try to involve for each category most people we could. We divided people to contact and phone and talk with them. I don't know.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Yeah. I also have a compliment for you. Florina is impressed with how you involve the citizens. And so I'm impressed myself. It's very impressive. There's another question. How was the composition of attendees? So was it scientific people with a scientific background, normal citizens? How would you describe that?
Okay. We have students and researchers, then high level of specialization if you want, but we have also normal citizens, but normal citizens are involved in association. And then they have maybe not a scientific preparation, but they have a social environment around them, and they can involve other people in actions. And then it's not so important scientific background for all, but I think it's very important the availability to do something together and not for money, not only for the common interest.
Okay. So maybe I have a question myself, something that I would be curious about. Do you think, or how do you think this participatory process changed the stakeholders and citizens' views on urban waste and also on the circular economy?
I think that the network is the key of this process, because I don't think they changed their point of view, but they could act together. This is the difference.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Okay, great. If there are no further questions for Laura from the audience?
We have one question from Yvonne Young. I will give her the floor.
I can read the question. we want to involve more citizens, yes, in particular with workshops. We will have in next month 4 workshops, and this is a way to involve more normal citizens and not only people who want to join the participatory process. And then I think that is a good way, the workshops, but also with the drink dispenser in the registry office, where a lot of people can come. This is a good point for dissemination. We are thinking about a display to show what it is and how many plastics is not waste because we use the drinking water dispenser and so on.
Okay, thank you, Laura. Are there any more questions from the audience to Laura at this point? Otherwise, I would suggest that we move on. And next up, we would hear from the city of Leiria, where we have Cristina Tejera and Margarida Moraes with us. Margarida is the head of the Environment and Health Division in Leiria, and Cristina manages the UrbanWINS project activities in Leiria. So please, both of you have the floor.
Hello, everybody. I hope you can hear me. I'm Margarida, and I'm with Cristina, and we are representing the municipality of Leiria. I would like to see my presentation, if you please.
Yeah, Margarida, yeah, you have...
Thank you very much. Well, I'm going to speak to the pilot actions to be implemented in Leiria. But first, I would like some information about our council.
Sorry, there's a lot of echo in your room.
Yes. Okay, sorry. Leiria is the capital of the district situated in the center of the region of Portugal. It covers an area of approximately 565 kilometers. We have, in the region, 9.23 kilometers of coast and 1 beach, the Praia de Pedroga. Can you pass, please? Thank you. We have 33.8 hectares of forest areas. We have 25.8% of the territory with the UrbanWINS, and the remaining and rural. It is rural soil. We have a site of community importance. It calls Azabucho, Leiria, and we have a special protection area that is Aveiro Nazaré. In the 6th Agra, we have the presentation of the 3 action pilots that we are going to implement it in Leiria in the next month. So, the first action It is some picture of the hours. We have 6 hours until now, and we have an average of 40 participants for each area. So, in Leiria, we have created 3 logos for the 3 pilot actions, and the first action, it calls a guide to food waste reduction. It's the first logo. The second pilot action we call a regulation for the promotion of sustainable events. And the third pilot action, it's training for catering and commercial establishments. For each one, we have created the 3 logos that you are seeing right now. The first action, it results of the problem that it is known in the world. Food waste is a barrier to ending hunger, achieving food security, and improving nutrition, and promoting sustainable agriculture. According to the 17 objectives of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development of the United Nations. Most of the food waste is a result of problems of recovery in the post-harvest, transport, storage, preparation, and handling phases of food. So the goal is develop a guide to reduce food waste. This guide, it will be directed for the following sectors: residential, catering, restaurants and cafes, school canteens and bars, and armed forces. That, like you would see right now, it was one of the stakeholders in the project. The goal is to test the guide's ability to reduce the amount of food waste in 15 local actors, or with 15 local actors that will be selected, and they will implement the guide on their spaces. It will be pilot projects. The participants of the project, it will be the Commercial and Industrial Association, ACILIS, Valoris, that is the Municipal Enterprise for Valorization and Treatment of Solid Waste, and IPL, Polytechnic Superior Institute of Leiria, that has or will participate with 3 different restaurants, and the armed forces, RAW 4.
Next slide.
Next one. Thank you. The partners are asked to inform the municipality with technical data for measurement purposes, authorize the access to their facilities for quantification and characterization of food waste, eatable food remains and non-eatable food waste, implementation of the guide measures, collaboration in process monitoring, and give access to their facilities to the project team, us and the other partners, with the purpose of obtaining results and evaluation for the action. The guide will have measures of different levels of application. All the person or entities who won't use them will be in charge to take, select and implement the measure that they select. The measures to be considered include how to prepare meals, how to prepare the trip to the supermarket and market, and where to deliver the leftovers, among others. The schedule that you are seeing right now, well, the action as initiated in July, 13th of July. It was the presentation of the pilot action and the partners of the project, and it will be developed from July until March. There are 5 tasks. So we are in the second test right now. We are in elaboration of the guide, and we are presenting the guide in October. We expect September, October. Then the guide will be implemented by the partners and until February. And we are monitoring the results in February of next year. Then we hope to have the results of the action in March. This action allows to improve, we hope, to improve food management and avoid waste, help all those we need, reduce costs with waste management, reduce costs with food, and environmental, economic, and social benefits. The guide will be available on the websites of Urban and Leiria Municipality for all citizens who would like to implement the guidelines of the guide. We expect that in 8 months we have a 5% reduction of food waste at the participants, and in the 16 months we have a 10% reduction of food waste at the participants. Action number 2 is a regulation for the promotion of sustainable events. Well, the goal is to develop a draft regulation to reduce the environmental impact of events held or supported by the municipality of Leiria. We have lots of events, culture, sportive events, and so we want to test the regulation at those events so that it can be improved later, resulting in a proposal for a regulation to be approved by the municipality. The target sectors of the regulation should be waste, resources, water and sanitation, energy, noise, transport and logistics, air pollution and climate change, procurement of goods and suppliers, and others. The target events will be those held in Mercado Santana, that is a cultural center at Leiria, a pilot space, being choosing those that are held more than once in the time elapsed of the project. If it isn't possible, it will be the project with the same theme or format. This action will focus only on waste. Well, the schedule is similar to the action 1. The project initiates with the presentation in the 13th of July, and we expect to have some results in March of next year. Now we are preparing the contents and elaborating the draft of the regulation. We hope this action allows to reduce the environmental impact of events, to promote the prevention and recycling of waste, strengthen the local economy and local employment, improve the living conditions of citizens, and we hope environmental, economical, and social benefits. The partners are the population, the event promoters, and the system values. We hope reduction of disposable package waste in Valor 10% in 8 months, 20% in 16 months. Action number 3, it aims training for capturing and commercial establishments. The goal is to provide traders with training and information about best practice and the values of waste management. The action aims to give hotels, restaurants, cafes, and retail to implement measures of prevention, reduction, and separation at the source of urban waste. They were selected some zones, some streets of Leiria will be chosen to be the pilot of the action, and the partners are Actilis and Valoris. The partners are asked to inform the municipality with statistical data for measure and propose, authorize the access to their facilities for quantification and characterization of waste generated, good reception of training actions, good practice for sorting and depositing their waste according to the training received, and dissemination of good practice learned. The schedule is the same. We have the participants and all the partners reunited in the 13th of July. We have right now, I think we have 15 restaurants and retail commerces and of affiliates, and it was a good adhesion to the project. We have this reunion with the stakeholders, and they were very expected with this action. So now we are what we are doing is elaborate the content, and in October we are going in the storage and give the information and the information to the participants. And of course, we are going to do a monitoring initial of what they produce now and what they will be produced, and they will be separate and in the future, in the March of next year. That is the deadline for all the monitoring of the results of the action implemented. So this action allows to increase the separation, we hope, and recycling rates of packaged waste. We have a problem, a big problem in the streets of non-good disposal. Sorry, to improve the urban cleaning of area, to improve the image of the sector to the tourists, to the citizens, to contribute to the reduction of the position of recoverable waste on landfilling, that is the responsibility of our waste, and environmental, economical, and social benefits for the participants. We hope to have 10% or more. We hope more, but we expect to have 10% separation of municipal waste. And then with following action, we have in 6 months expect more than 20% of separations of municipal waste. So these are the 3 action pilots that results of the 60 agros that we have in area. And I hope it was clear for all. And we expect some questions. Obrigado. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Margarida. That was really interesting indeed. And as you said, I would like to now invite our audience to ask any questions you might have. So please go ahead. Yeah, so we have one question.
Can you repeat? We can't hear.
You can hear me now, right? We have a question. What is the current level in percentage of waste separation in Lydia? Do you know that?
It's very short. Just a second, please. Thank you. 18%, I think. It's variable. 18%.
Okay. Oh yeah. Okay. Good. And then we have another really interesting question. Can you describe how the collaboration with the Army came about?
Yes. They are partners in the action number 1, and they have already some rules implemented on its canteen. They are going participant in the elaboration of the guide with some measures, and the goal is zero waste in their canteen, because they have already some rules implemented. We are very expected on this. They are in a very advanced stage of. They don't have a guide. They have rules very restrictive on their canteens, and they are going to participate on this with collaborating on the guide and implementing some of the rules to achieve zero waste in their space.
Okay, thank you. We have another question for Action 1, the food waste question, or the food waste action. Have you already contacted any restaurants, and if so, how did the owners react to this initiative?
Yes. There are 10 restaurants involved from Achilles. Like I said, Achilles, it's the Commercial and Industrial Association. Achilles is Commercial and Industrial Association of Leiria. So they have contacted some restaurants that receptive to the project. So we have right now 10 restaurants and snacks that will be participating in the project.
Okay. And regarding the third pilot that you're starting, which criteria was used to select the pilot areas? Could you say a little bit more about that as well?
Yes, it is. They are streets, problematic streets in the center of the town. We have containers under the underground soil, and near that containers there is all problems because the commerciants do not do separation and do not introduce the waste in their content. So we have black points in the city, critical points in the city, and the aim is to catch eradicate these black points. So with Achilles, again, we are selecting the main streets that are problematic in the town, in the center of the town.
Okay, thank you. Finally, I would have a question myself too. What do you think was the most important lesson you learned from setting up this whole participatory process? And maybe what is also an important lesson for other cities that are thinking to do a similar thing?
Untitled Chapter. Well, the participants are from several different areas. We are surprised with that. From the academic world, industrial world, government, and several areas, different areas. Obvious, ao longo do processo, during the process, in several areas, they change because we have initially 35 actions, and then we have been selected and reducing this action, and the participants, some of the participants are changed, and remaining that were interesting in the pilot actions. It's curious because in the 5 area, not in the last one, but in 5 area, we have a change of participants because the pilot action change. Não quer dizer change, quer dizer que havia 6, não é? Sorry. Havia das 6 passadas para 3. Sim, quer dizer que houve uma alteração. The interest of the participants and the participant himself, they are changed of all the process. But some of those remain desde o início, since the beginning until the end. And that was very surprise for us. The fact that the people feel they can be a part. The fact that the people feel that can be a part of the political action from the municipality, it was I think it was the most important thing in the area.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you for this. So if there are no... Oh, there's 2 more questions from the audience. So I would like now to give the floor to Nuria, please.
Unmuted.
Sorry?
Yes, hello.
I can hear the question. Can you repeat the question?
Nuria, you should have the chance to speak now.
She doesn't have a microphone. Try to get the question from her via chat. You could give the floor to Piotr.
Yes, please, Piotr. Piotr, you were about to ask a question. You have the chance to ask it now.
No, I have no question.
Oh, okay. Did you want to make a comment? Okay. So far, Nuria, if you would like to type your question in the chat, you can still do so. Otherwise, if there's no further questions, I Would like to thank both of you, Laura and Margarida, for these really interesting presentations. And now we would then move on to the second part of the program today, which is the UrbanWINS City Match Exchange. City Match is an inter-city exchange program that connects waste management practitioners across Europe, and it's part of the UrbanWINS project. It is a kind of structured peer-to-peer exchange program that includes swapping jobs for 2 to 3 days and organized visits, meetings with experienced local staff. Yes. Okay, sorry. So last year, the Metropolitan City of Rome hosted practitioners from Portugal and Bologna and to give them insights in their current activities and future plans. And with me today are Gianluca Luciani, who is representing the City of Rome, and Philip Tepper. Hi. And Philip Tepper from ICLA Europe, who is the brain behind City Match. Since this is an interview, I would also like to encourage our audience to ask any questions that come to mind during the conversation. So again, feel free to type them in the chat or raise a hand if you want to ask a question in person. Thank you. So I would now like both of you to introduce yourselves and say a couple of sentences about City Match in general, but also specifically about your activities in Rome. So Philip, if you could maybe start, please.
Sure, more than welcome. City Match is one idea we had here at ICLA for a long time that connects different public authorities on certain topics all around sustainable economy, procurement, waste management, all kinds of topics that are interesting to learn a bit more in detail and on the spot. So we set up within the Procure Plus network a twinning exercise where people can connect each other, and we replicated this also in the UrbanWINS project. It's called the City Match, and basically the idea behind that the host city has a certain topic that they want to talk about. Let's take, for instance, food procurement, food waste reduction, like we heard from Leiria, and they want to exchange in depth with other colleagues from another city across Europe. So let's take, for instance, the city of Wonderland in the country of Quality Land is interested in learning more from Leiria, so they can make use of our City Match scheme and apply for some support to the travel and also program support, and will listen to live stories in Leiria, how it's happening, maybe visiting also the canteens in the armed forces. Might be interesting study visit to do, and all those type of things we are setting up with City Match program.
Okay, great. Thank you, Philip. Gianluca, if you want to also introduce yourself and City Match in Rome.
My name is Gianluca. I work for the Metropolitan City of Capital, Rome, and I deal with European projects. We hosted the City Match last year in Rome on the 12 and 13 of October, and it was a great experience because it was done in the framework of the Buy Green Forum, where we hosted 2 representatives from Leiria, Portugal. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you perfectly. Oh. Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you.
You want to ask me any questions?
Yes, I do. I was just going to do that. So thanks for the introduction. Gianluca, which topics did you introduce during the City Match? Which topics did you talk about doing this in Rome?
Yes, we introduced 2 main topics. The first one was monitoring green public procurements. In fact, we did an in-depth discussion about our computerized way of monitoring tenders since the metropolitan city of capital Rome has an IT accounting system which allow us to monitoring CO2 emissions. So we have a CO2 emissions accounting in our system. And the second one was about tender of furniture. We spoke of our experience about tenders for school furniture supply, where we highlighted our criteria that were also linked to the possibility of recovery and reuse of disused school furniture, and also the introduction of a social clause.
Okay, wow. So, and how would you say, from your experience, what were the participants to City Match most interested in during this event?
Okay.
Not only in terms of topic, but also in terms of just your activities in Rome and seeing another city. What would you say?
I didn't realize if there was a topic which participants were more interested in, but I think that having done the city match within the Buy Green Forum provided a unique framework that involved participants in a total experience.
All right, that's interesting. And as a host, I mean, you hosted this and you invited these other cities. What was in for you? Like, did you get any new insights into circular procurement, for example, or new waste management measures? Was there any of that as well for you?
I don't know if any one of us get any insights in particular, but what was important of the city match, I think, was the important thing of the city match, that it was an important moment of discussion and exchange of knowledge that helped us to strengthen our attitude on the topic.
Okay, so you mean by actually presenting it to other cities and getting their questions, you had to kind of form your own strategy a bit stronger. That's what you're saying.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Philip, I'm wondering, would you want to weigh in a little bit on that? What do you think cities get out of not only attending but also hosting a city match?
They find like-minded people. They may get questions also from people, from experts on their level, on the challenges they have. We are currently in talks with an agency that is having very strong targets on waste prevention for their office buildings, and it's about getting maybe the last spark of inspiration for your tenders you're working on, or your policies or your processes. And it's very personal also. I was not at the Compraverde Forum there in Rome, but I happened to be also at a conference in the previous years, and it's also great if sometimes it's connected to a local event, or you get to know also other like-minded people, other experts in the field. That could be one thing, one benefit to say.
Okay, thank you both. And maybe a question also to both of you. What do you think, what other topics could be relevant for cities, or what should be covered in the city match? Luca, with your experience of having hosted this, what would you suggest should happen in the future? Luca, are you still with us?
Yes, I am.
Should I just? I just asked if, with this experience that you had with City Match, what do you think is up for the future? What other topics could be relevant for cities? What would be your suggestion?
Oh, I think it would be important. Waste prevention. I think the most important topics will be waste prevention.
So you mean waste prevention? Why is that? Or maybe I can also put the question to Philip, who has a bigger view of what's happening with CityMatch. What do you think are the key topics that are relevant right now for cities to engage in exchange with?
Yeah, I mean, waste prevention is a good one, I would say. Definitely, because when you do not have to talk about waste anymore, you delete the terminology also. You talk about resources, you talk about more innovative processes. This is also a bit what we want to show in UrbanWINS, basically to make more use of resources. And I see a clear link to the fancy word of circular economy popping up everywhere now. To show with our CityMatch some real-life examples how basically circular economy theory strategies do work in practice, and people can learn about recycled concrete, zero waste buildings management, so of the use phase, or also services and contract management. That's all things and topics that give a bit of a flavor to a theoretical concept.
Yeah, thank you, Philip. I was just going to ask about the circular economy, because my next question would have been, so why is this intercity exchange particularly important when it comes to circular economy? I don't know, Luca, if you want to add anything to that.
No, I don't.
Okay. Well, Philip, maybe you can give us a preview what's up next with CityMatch, and maybe also in terms of our audience, maybe what that might be interesting to them as well, to see how they can participate in this.
Sure. We have are working on 3 city matches currently. Currently looking into the programs with each of the host cities, and that's the following. For around January 2019, we aim to have 1 city match event happening in the city of Zurich in Switzerland. It's on the topic of recycled concrete, and we will see some construction sites, talk with the procurement departments and our building and facility management department locally. And this is in the make, and we are looking into other public authorities from across Europe that have made their own experiences with recycled concrete, and of course buildings management and construction sector. So that would be something. A second one is coming up February-March 2019. It's in Procure Plus participant city Malmö in Sweden. It's about contract management, about services, but also products in the field of cleaning and transport. And there are also some connection to the circular economy, but not that strong. But this is also for the nerds among you that really want to dig deeper into public procurement and contract management. And last but not least, from my side, more very interesting topic. It's about 0 kilogram waste in use phase of an office building. I just look around here in my office and I see not many waste, because we do recycle paper, plastics, and things like this. But yeah, there is still some kilogram happening here in my office. So this is a challenge that has been given, or did the Flemish Agency for Facility Management gave themselves. And we are looking for other public authorities that have similar very strict aims and targets for waste reduction, residual waste. And this is about to be decided when it will take place, but also in springtime in 2019.
Great, thank you, Philip. That sounds really interesting and like a good opportunity for anyone who wants to dig deeper into these topics as well. I was wondering if our audience also has any questions on these topics to Gianluca or to Philip or to both in general. So I would like, again, to give everyone the chance to ask questions.
I've seen a question here from Piotr. Is there any funding available for those city matches beyond only funding trips or events? Can cities involved employ 1 to 2 year expert to guide them how to address the challenge? So basically, our City Match program, or the UrbanWINS project, supports logistics costs. We have limited budget for the host also to support them on the spot, but that's basically what we can offer financially. And can cities involved employ 1 to 2 year expert to guide them how to address a challenge? I don't really understand this part of the question. The city match it's not a 1 to 2 year exercise. It's a snippet basically that goes for a couple of days, between 1 and 5 days. And you basically send a delegation from your city or from your organization, and this delegation is composed by different kind of experts. It can be junior expert or senior expert. What is more suitable for the case you are talking about?
Okay, thank you for this question. I'm wondering maybe there's other questions from the audience at this moment. Otherwise, Gianluca, I'm also curious about one thing, which is what was the feedback you got from the participants to City Match that were in Rome? Like, what was the most benefit they got out of it? If you could say something about that.
Yes, I can. They were interested in mainly I think about our monitoring system on green public procurements. So they could see the way we introduce environmental criteria in our accounting system. And they were also interested in a visit we made to our building. It's a new skyscraper near Rome that implemented a lot of innovative systems for energy savings.
Okay, cool, interesting. So they really got the chance to see some of your innovations that you're implementing and see how they would fit to their cities as well. So I think that's a really nice benefit of it. Yeah, I'm wondering, Philip, do you have anything you would add to City Match as an experience for cities, hosts, participants, etc.? Or are there any other questions that came from the audience?
Yeah, maybe linked to one comment by Piotr, which is basically saying how to make this a truly long-term partnership. That's not so much the overall aim of a City Match, but of course we are very much appreciate if this would not be the last visit that happens there. So for instance, we know that in the City Match in Rome, with Bologna and Lipo from Portugal, and both this metropolitan city of Rome capital, they continue to exchange on projects or on a case-by-case basis. So that's already a good sign. They are also connected already mostly in existing network, such as the Procure Plus European Sustainable Procurement Network. So that's just basically an activity within those networks, you could say there. Saying this, I would love to have also see one or the other new connections to be made there. And we are more than happy to support you to get this in other frameworks or networks or activities.
Great, thank you. So on the slide that I already put up, which says thank you, you can see Philip's contacts and feel free to get in touch if you have any further questions in general about this, and also get in touch with us if you have any questions or comments about this webinar. because now I would like to thank you all for attending. If you like this webinar and you're interested to hear more about the cities and our pilot actions, please make sure to stay tuned, subscribe to our newsletter, which you can do on our website, and keep an eye out for our events. Follow us on Twitter, etc. So you will be hearing a lot more from all the other UrbanWINS cities in the coming months about their pilot actions and how that is going. And I would really like to thank you all also for your interest in this event. It was very popularly attended, and I think it also shows how important these issues are. So thank you all again, and I hope you enjoyed it.
Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.